Yeah, and there's two important considerations, and the first is exactly what Caleb was talking about. One way you can look at it is in this. I think it's translated the word concerning in a lot of English translations, but in Greek it's peri. And the first time he introduces this is we're in 1 Corinthians 7:1. He says, peri, concerning the things which you wrote about. Right? And then, then from there on, several times he'll say like peri, now concerning virgins, right? Or then he'll say in 8 verse 1, concerning things sacrificed to idols, right? And in chapter 12:1, concerning spiritual gifts, and then 16:1, concerning the collection. This he's not going to say concerning what you wrote about every single time. Right. But what we need to remember is this teaches us that Paul he's already been to Corinth, right? I don't know exactly the timeline, so I could be wrong. I believe he's already been to Corinth at this time. Rome, when he wrote Romans, he hadn't been there. He wants to visit Rome.
Right.
Corinthians,
and
he has
he's in
ongoing.
Corinth.
Go ahead.
I think he's in Corinth, isn't he? No, maybe I'm wrong. I write this in my commentary on Acts, where he's at when he's in Romans, because we have pretty good evidence of this.
I'm not fresh on the timeline of the different missionary journeys, so to take that with a grain of salt. But what we do know is he's got 2 letters to the Corinthians. We know that he was deeply engaged with that community.
Right.
We know he spent, I think it's in Acts, where he was there for 1.5 years,
right,
for 18 months.
Yep.
So, and that's every Shabbat teaching. Okay.
And more. Probably more than just on Shabbat, right?
Right.
I mean, he was with the community.
And he lived next to the synagogue.
Right.
Okay. So if I remember right. Okay. So my point is just that we just need to remind ourselves, like when we're reading the Corinthian correspondence, we want to pay attention to these special circumstances, right, that this is a highly engaged Paul he loves his community, and he's deeply invested in helping them, shepherding them, pastoring them, and guiding them from their false understandings by the power of the gospel and the truth of the scriptures to help them learn and get rid of false ideas and to be anchored in the truth. And that's a long-term labor. He wouldn't stay at a place for 1.5 years unless there was a lot of work unless God had a lot of work for him to do there. And even 1.5 years is just a drop in the bucket over the lifetime of a community. 1.5 years is not much. And so we have the letters as a supplemental aspect of his ministry in Corinth. And so just like when we're in a conversation with someone we care about, we are going to be a good listener, and we're going to echo back, okay, this is what I hear you say. Or regarding this thing that you're saying, let me offer my reply. And it's important to do that with just general good communication so that the person knows that you're just not waiting to just railroad them or bulldoze them with what you have to say. You're actually showing this, like, look, I understand your viewpoint and I've taken time to hear it, and now I'm going to respond. And Paul does that. So all the more we need to be careful readers of Corinth, of the Corinthian correspondence. And I don't know the title of the book you're talking about, but yeah, their scholarship has been done. The idea of calling these slogans or the things and is very valuable. The everything is lawful is a big one, of course.
Because we know that that's not true, right? And we know that Paul doesn't believe that.
Exactly. So that's the one angle, is to recognize that. The other that I just wanted to point out is this everything. I noticed, I looked up the Net Bible. They have all things, because it's in chapter 6, all things are lawful for me, but not everything is beneficial. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be controlled by anything. In chapter 10, he repeats it again, but for some reason, the Net Bible there goes, everything is lawful, but not everything is beneficial, right? Everything is lawful,
so they
but not
change
everything
it.
Builds or others up. So again, we have Paul interacting. All the more we know that that's a slogan, because it's not just in chapter 6, it's also in chapter 10.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Tell us your thoughts on this subject by leaving a comment in the comment section. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and enable those notifications. And we'll see you in the next video.